Good afternoon, men and ladies. This is my third attempt at this one today. I keep getting interrupted when I'm doing my little presentation. It's after school now, so hopefully I can get through this without the bell ringing or someone knocking on the door or anything else. So anyhow, let's try this. This is what we did today, was multiplying fractions. The grade 7 and the grade 8 note is on the smartboard that you can see. And the first thing we did was we asked the grade 7s and the 8s to see what the difference is between the two grade levels. Pretty easy to tell that the only difference is that the grade 8s are going to have mixed fractions. The grade 7s are only going to be working with improper and proper fractions for assessment purposes. Anyhow, once we got there, we drew the attention to this part here that's in upper caps and with an exclamation mark. It's on both sides. There it is over there for the grade 8s. And the big thing to remember here that we highlighted on your own notes is that you do not need a common denominator. Don't spend time or do not change the denominators when you are doing this work. That is for addition and subtraction. It is not for multiplication. Do not do it. Say that to yourself 10 times. Draw yourself a picture. Do whatever you have to do to remember that. But please make sure you don't go looking for a common denominator. That was addition and subtraction. But when we're learning how to multiply fractions, we see that the very first step is to multiply the numerator by numerator and multiply the denominator times the denominator. That's it in the process. So if we're looking at this question right here for the grade 7s, we have 3/6 times 1/2. And all you do is you multiply the two numerators together and you multiply the two denominators together. And it looks just like it is. The two numerators will stay on the top. So 3 times 1 equals 3, and that's your new numerator. And 6 times 2 equals 12, and that's your new denominator. Now 3/12 is a great answer, but the problem with 3/12, it is not reduced to lowest terms. So when we've been doing lowest terms for addition and subtraction, what you do is you ask yourself, is there a factor that will go into the numerator and denominator evenly? Pretty obvious from these two. You're looking at the numbers, and you should know that 3 will go into 12 evenly. So you divide both the top and the bottom by 3, and your result will be your lowest terms. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. This same answer, 3/12, equals 1/4 in its lowest terms. So I'm going to skip over to the grade 8s for a second. With the grade 8s, your first step is to change all mixed to improper. So if we have these fractions here, 2.5 and 1/4, what we're going to do is we're going to make those improper fractions. You did these in previous years. We've done it last week. Anyhow, what you do is you multiply 2 times 2 and add 1. So this new fraction is 5 for the numerator, and you keep the denominator the same. So that fraction here is 5/2. And you do the same for 1/4. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that's 5/4. That is your new question. It's not a new question, that's the mixed numbers as improper. Anyhow, I'll put it down here just so we have a little more room. And then you're simply going to multiply the numerators by each other, and you're going to multiply the denominators together. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 2 times 4 is 8. Now, like the one before, lowest terms is your last step, but if you start looking through 25 and 8, there is no number besides 1 that will go into there. Some kids have asked, do I need to put this into a mix to show lowest terms? And you certainly could. 8 will go into 25 3 times and have 1 remainder and 8. You may say that is lowest terms, but you can leave it as an improper fraction as long as you cannot reduce it any further. So either way would be a correct answer. If we're going to look at 2 more examples before you get started today, here is on the left a grade 7 question. So remember, there is no common denominator. It's really important that you don't get confused. We're simply going to multiply the numerators together, multiply the denominators together. 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 8 is 40. You look at that answer, and you got to say to yourself, is there a number that will go into top and bottom? We discussed today that if both the numerator and the denominator are even numbers, then 2 will always be a factor. And if we just take it off of that and divide those by 2, our new fraction in the lowest terms will be 3/20. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. That cannot be reduced any further. If we skip over to the 8s, and I want the 7s to see it too. Grade 7s, you can do this. You're just not expected to have to do it or being assessed on. But you can do this. What we're going to do is we're going to take these fractions and put them into an improper fraction. So this one here at 6 1/4 is really 25/4. And we're going to multiply it by 12/5. Now I want to show you 2 different ways to do this, because I'm trying to start to push the grade 8s into taking some shortcuts, but some really intelligent shortcuts. But anyhow, let's do it the long way. We're going to multiply the numerators together. 25 times 12, well, I know 25 times 10 is 250. Add 50 more. My numerator is going to be 300. You can work it out with a calculator, but we're talking about mental math, and this is where we've got to start using it. Anyhow, 4 times 5 is 20. When we reduce this, we see, is there a number that will go into the top and bottom evenly? We take a really good shot because it's even, and 20 will go into both of these. 20 will go into itself one time, and 20 will go into 300 15 times. You might not know that off the top of your head, but you can use a calculator and figure it out. So that's a great little answer for the grade 8s. But what I want to show them is maybe we can reduce this a little bit in the question, right when we're doing it. So let me move it down here so we have a little more room. If these numbers were 25/4 times 12/5, we can do a little reducing right here in the question before we start. And we showed today that you can look for a numerator and denominator and do a little reducing. So I know that 5 and 25, this one and this one are common terms. So I'm going to reduce that right here. 5 goes into itself once, 5 goes into that 5 times. I also know that 4 and 12 will go into each other evenly. 4 goes into itself once, 4 goes into there 3 times. Now see how neat I'm trying to keep it? What I really have now across the top is 5 times 3. And 5 times 3 is 15. And on the bottom, what I really have now, after I've crossed everything out, is 1 and 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. And you see I get the exact same answer. But this way, I avoid a larger fraction to deal with. This is not something I want you to do right away. If you're not feeling 100% comfortable multiplying fractions, don't go here yet. But definitely in the next couple of days, we're going to start doing more practice with reducing the question right inside of a multiplication question so that when we get to the final answer, it's already in lowest terms. Anyhow, we're going to practice lots today. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. You had 6 questions each to do for homework. Most of you got done. It will be posted tonight as a picture on the Google Classroom. Have a great night.